this is the final boss, and this is Damsels in Distress. A exciting screenplay, and I'm going to start off by reading the log line, which is over here, and then we'll jump on in to the first number of pages and see what we think. Logline: a recluse tattoo artist moonlighting at a club uncovers its cartel ties, but when she discovers the next target, comma, running is no longer an option. I think you need a comma there. I would say the only thing is like make sure your grammar is perfect in a long line. I mean, I might be wrong. I could be, I'm not a grammar wizard, but that does feel like a when she discovers their next target, comma, and also like the M dash here uncovers its cartel ties. I think you just need a comma here too. I don't think an M dash really works as a thing, but it's interesting. I mean, so I've these structures of narratives are very common, right? And one of the thing, like hey, issue with the cartel, you have to face down with them now. I literally wrote a screenplay with that similar structure. The thing that I would push as a writer on is what's that different angle. Obviously, some might argue that my approach didn't work, but at least my approach was to say, hey, like this is a drug running pilot. He's a pilot working with the cartel, and so there's more plane stuff going on and more things of that nature. And so, the question that I would say is like, okay, I would really hope to see tattoo artist coming in as an important part of what makes this story different from other cartel tie, whatever it may be situations. So I would say like, how does artist, set this apart? Yeah, like from the other, confront cartel stories out there. I mean, cartel is it's one of those things that's like in some ways like not super. It's a very it's like a very powerful conflict, right? Like that these people are extremely motivated by money. They're very driven to, use violence. So there's a lot of conflict baked into that, which I think is beneficial for a story. But on the flip side, I'm always curious to say, hey, look, like, what's the protagonist's unique angle? Like, are the issues? So a tattoo artist, how does being a tattoo artist change how she confronts the cartel? Yeah, I think I summarized it okay there. Anyways, jumping on in. So interior dive bar, women's bathroom stall. I think it would be dive bar dash women's bathroom stall here, because it's like at least the way I've always thought of slug lines is that you go obviously interior exterior, and then you do like building room whatever it is, like so I would have like a dash between dive bar. Uh, though again, one thing to think about, right, is that and just to know this is I'm very, very biased towards structure. I'm very, very biased towards the screenplays I like and the screenplays that I enjoyed reading or I thought performed well were ones where it was a little more sparse, right? And it's a little less florid. And so you'll see a lot of my notes will be guiding towards just trimming, focusing on the story. And you may or may not agree with that as an approach. But that is data for you to have. I mean, at least as a, I think the thing that always gives me context is, as a script reader, reading a lot of scripts, it's not uncommon to kind of be like, Okay, like let's move it along. You know, or those embellishments that aren't visual, like right, if I can't see it in my mind's eye, because it all has to translate to film, that would often, in my reading, signal that hey, maybe this writer, um, you know, doesn't have as much of a grasp of what he's trying to accomplish because, and I'm not saying I haven't even read this part yet, but that's just those are my biases, right? Is to say any details that aren't visual, auditory, something that can be seen through film, will usually count as points against, and then you know, extra superfluous stuff will count as points against. But let's jump in. Mia 23F. You can usually just do 23. I mean, I kind of know she's a female, but whatever. Is in tears, sitting on the toilet. She's out of place here, even through the smeared makeup and cheap dress. There's an elegance to her. Again, that would be one of those example. Is like, what are the concrete signs of this elegance? You know, so she's in a cheap dress, so that you know, is it like a Grecian nose or Roman nose? You know, like I'm trying to think of what are elegant features. I don't know. You know, like a Victorian blah blah blah. Like, you know, what you know, giving me those concrete details like, oh hey, this is what, you know, it's again, it's an abstract. Elegance is abstract, and film is all about concrete. You know, and so yeah, but you know, film you only have what's seen, the concrete visuals of what's seen, the actors' performances, the sound, and stuff like that. And so much of, you know, the goal of a screenplay in my mind is trying to solve some of these problems for the director, right? Is to say, oh, they're going to want to communicate this, that she's elegant, but they might not, you know, but I want to help them figure out what actor or actress to use, which would be someone with a Roman nose or whatever are the elegant features. I don't really know. I'm like the farthest thing from elegant, I think, north of the Mississippi, but we'll see. Anyways, okay, bathroom door creaks open. Mia silences are crying. Footsteps are heard entering. Are heard entering. I just think the are heard entering is kind of a weird construction, right? Because you can just describe, you know, footsteps clomp along the floor and a sink begins to run, right? You just describe the things. I think we don't need Mia to be a viewpoint character necessarily. We can just describe footsteps, you know, clomp. Or maybe it's like high heels across the concrete. And a sink. And a sink, you know, whatever. I don't know. That's, you know, obviously there's ways. Um, yeah, but we don't need Mia. Mia doesn't need to be a viewpoint. Okay. Mia peeks out. She then steps out, hesitant. Then comma steps out. I don't know. I think you usually do a comma there. Then, or maybe then steps out. I don't know. I would just say, you know, the reason I'm going super oopsie. Close all this stuff out. The reason I'm going in super detail in the beginning of a screenplay is because this first page is your ticket. And, you know, there is literally on Script Shadow, which is a very popular screenwriting blog, scriptshadow.net. There was literally a first page competition where all the amateur writer has to go on to sell their screenplay is their first page. And that might seem really crazy, um, but it is the reality often. And making that first page the best thing you can put together at your skill set level. Right? Like, I mean, I'm sure like with my novel or whatever, there are parts of it that, oh, maybe if I was more experienced or if I had done something different, I would maybe be able to do it better. But just with whatever skills you have, whatever skills I have, I try to make the first page of my novel or the first page of a screenplay I write as polished as I can make it, because that really is, the biggest moment your screenplay has to sort of say, "Hey, here I am," and I'm worth reading the rest of the way. Mia peeks out of Canada, pin up curls, red lips, and where's Rachel? So the capitalization's weird. Has red makes streak over on the face. We already got this description, right? So we already have smeared makeup. So we're verbal doubling a little bit, which also is like, we describe Mia's street makeup twice. Trust the first description and cut the second. Yeah, trust that your description is going to sink in, and that's the beauty of screenplays too, is that keeping in your mind that this is all going to end up translating to film if it obviously is successful, and that in many respects means that once you establish something one time in a scene, it's that's what the character's dressed as in the movie, right? Like she's not going to suddenly not have smeared makeup going into exiting the stall, and so that's a helpful way to kind of just contextualize. I don't know, my dryer's mad at me for something. The bathroom door creaks open, like a Vegas showgirl who never left the stage, remaining unscathed. Again, a little vague. Don't know what that means. Like, does that mean that she still stands tall? What does that translate to visually into concrete material? She stands facing the mirror. It's okay. I don't bite. Sorry. Bad day. He approaches the sink next to Rachel. Everything okay, sweetheart? I'll be fine. Get stood up only by everyone every time. Well, I'm here now. What's the occasion? Finally landed a spot in a show. Well, so I thought, but they ghosted me too. Clover, what's up and welcome. We're getting to a screenplay edit, which I love. I love screenplays. They're like, because I'm a very OCD person, and screenplays are like the OCD structure of writing. Like they have, it's nothing but merciless OCD storytelling in a screenplay. Bit I've managed to bit by bloody bit pick up a writing habit again. There you go. That's all we. Geez, man, I probably need to do the same thing. I've been not been able to do as much writing lately. So, shame on me. It's all the bell curve of life and ebbs and flows. The sine wave, maybe. Finally landed the spot in a show. Also, I thought, but they ghosted me too. Honey, if I had a $5 chip for every gig that left me high and dry. Okay, so a few things. So you have a lot of orphans, which are these little words that make your page longer. So like page one, orphan words in screenplays make the page, longer and the scripts longer. Look for ways to trim. And then, if I'm looking at this, like we're landing, and this, so again, I'm going to kind of come back to this, and this is why I'm doing like a bunch of notes on the first page, and I'll probably move a little faster, is this is the most critical page. And what I'm seeing here is a scene that has, I think, some intrigue, but not conflict, right? Like there's no uncertainty of outcome, right? Like obviously, like we see some intrigue about, hey, like, it's a backstory intrigue, right? Like something happened in the past to Mia, and that's why she wound up in this bathroom, right? But that's always going to be less effective than in scene conflict, where something is happening in this scene, in this moment to Mia. And so just keeping that in mind, like I do think that in terms of, hey, what are things to look out for in this first page? I would say, hey, what are some pieces of conflict? What are some hints at something more going on? I mean, I think, again, like that's everything in screenplays is driving momentum and conflict, especially from like the first instant you see a screen. Yeah, every word counts. I learned a lot about writing from reading screenplays for some of my favorite shows. That's good. See, yeah, there you go. Screenplays are like they're just the most economical. It's like there's no fluff. You can't get away with anything in my mind. Or you can, and then but if you're the highest aspiration of screenplays is just an absolutely pristine, sparse, to the point story. Like it's nothing but story, visual story, obviously. But yeah, novels, you can get away with having poetic language, and saying, oh well, and you'll see this a lot in like MFA stories and stuff, like in fancy books where oh, you know what? I forgot to put on the darn Twitch category. Hold the horses. It never does that. For some reason, Twitch just does not like having a category up for me. Very rude. Writing and reading. I think that pretty much qualifies. All right. And I got some Twitch notifications. All right. Whatever, Twitch. Amazon. Freaking Jeff Bezos. Flippin' Jeff Bezos. Yeah, the first page is a little light on conflict. I do see this as problematic in terms of, not having uncertainty. Yeah, and the reason you want page 1 and 2 to kind of set you up with something uncertain, something like you know. Speaking of flower language, do you have any opinions on Tarantino scripts? He said he writes them almost like novels, though when you read them, the dialogue is still super tight. Yes, I do have opinions on Tarantino's script. That is one of the benefits of being a writer and director. And you'll also see in his writing that he's very thoughtful about, kind of like what we were talking about earlier, using visual, concrete indications of abstract ideas. Or I think it was this one up here, right? So, I think one of the examples in this project was sort of saying, hey, there's an elegance to this character. I think that's awesome. But the kind of the next level of that is sort of what are the concrete film signals? Like, I made like a Roman nose. I think that's a thing. Whatever. Like, is there some sort of visual quality, something that I can see on a film that would give me the sense of elegance? Like she always stands erect, whatever that may be. And I think those are the hallmarks of what makes his writing like a very slippery slope for. I think it's like one of those pits that has spikes under it. It's a spike pit, because I think with Tarantino's writing, one, he's a writer director, and he can, like you can write if you're directing it. It doesn't matter. Like the studio doesn't care. You don't have he doesn't have to really communicate the story to anyone but himself, which is really helpful. Right? Writer directors only have to communicate the story to the director because that's the person truly telling the story in the end of film. If you're just a writer submitting a spec script, you have to tell that story in a way that's as consistent as possible for everyone that reads it, right? Because like the risk of vague storytelling. This is why everyone talks about concrete details, concrete details. The risk of vague storytelling is that I hand someone a screenplay or a novel, and they visualize and experience something different than what you intended as the writer, or maybe what even another reader intended or experienced. And that's problematic because you cannot hone and polish an experience if you can't even deliver a consistent experience, right? So like so if if you're able to deliver a really consistent, like, hey, this person always knows this character is a bad guy. They always are rooting for this character. They always think that character's annoying. That lets you fine tune things. But if sometimes people think this character's annoying, some people think they're really reasonable. Um, that's where you know it's just it's not necessarily bad. There's some writers that do it intentionally, but in terms of just raw communication, you're going to have more margin of error. And sometimes margin of error is a goal for writers. Like, you do want certain things to be ambiguous. I don't think it's always a non-starter, but I think it is something that it's worth it to just know that you're doing it and be like, okay, I'm intentionally doing this, and it's not happening by chance, right? Rachel and Mia share quick melancholic silence. Again, very, very slow. Melancholic silences, these are pulling back your pacing. They're not advancing it. She dips and presses the nostril, inhales, repeats on the other side. She's about to stash it when she catches Mia watching. She gestures some to Mia. F it. What are friends for? I'm Rachel. Rachel dips the spoon and holds it up to me. I'm Mia. Why don't you come join us at the bar? I don't know. Us single girls need to stay together. Rachel holds up a finger to show no wedding ring. That obvious? Mia holds her hand showing no wedding ring either. I don't know if, like, wedding ring in my mind. So again, like, this is why so much of honing a story is like figuring out what suggestions are coming across as well as what's actually being said on the page, right? And like, wedding ring seems like the most overt thing of, like, I would, two girls doing coke in a bar bathroom, with smeared makeup and all these things. I'm not usually, I would expect them, when they say I'm single, to not have like a boyfriend. It would be potentially more, at least given the framing, like, why are they looking for a wedding ring? I think they're just trying to make sure they didn't go to the bar with somebody together. And so that's a little bit of it's an odd connection to make. And so it'll bump you out of the story as a reader where you're like, huh, I wasn't thinking that. Why are they thinking wedding rings when, if you're at some kind of dive bar and you're, doing coke and you're, got smeared makeup, like, you're probably not in a committed relationship, potentially. At least the probabilities are different. You never know. I should see what my wife is doing right now. I'm just kidding. Maybe she's doing coke. I knew it. Anyways, but it just comes off a little strange. Yeah, come and sit with us. What's to lose? I'm buying. Here, let me make. So again, this is a verbal doubling, right? And so, because like the coke hits, and then we describe the concrete coke hit. So I would literally either cut this or give a different descriptor, right? So I can do a strike through. Whoa! I didn't know I could. Good old Adobe Acrobat. But yeah, we got some verbal doubling here. Just stick with the more visual descriptor. And you can also think of it like camera shots, right? Like each sentence in an action line, in some ways, can be a thing the camera snaps to, right? So you could say Mia hesitates, her nostrils flare, like she's like, doing whatever. I mean, I don't know, but her nostrils flare, and then her pupils dilate. So then we know that, like, we see Mia go like this. We see the eyes, nose. I know it's the coke hitting. You don't have to tell me that. And then, a wry smile, or, well, if you're buying. Yeah, but I mean, that's already implied in the dialogue, so I wouldn't actually add more embellishment. Here, let me help you with your makeup a little. Yeah, again, a little clunky dialogue. I would just be like, but your makeup? Let me help. Something like that. Like, it's a little very formal phrasing. Here, let me help you with your makeup. It is running a little. I would just say, oh, honey, let's fix that makeup, though. whatever, Rachel seems like a person who would say, "Oh, honey." Um, Honey, that mascara is a nightmare. Let's fix first. Whatever. I don't know what LA people sound like. Even though I lived in LA for a while, but I don't know anymore. I'm old. Um, it's like she dunked her face in water. Close up on Mia's face. Ooh, we've already established this. I would cut that. I would just cut this extra line and cut the action line after this due to verbal doubling. Rachel leads me out. The dim red glow washes over them. No, that's fine. That's right. That's right. Washing. It is kind of weird that you say the dim red glow when there hasn't been. Maybe it's like a dim red glow. That does kind of sound strange. Ricky, 44 male, sits in a booth waiting. A black suit, anxiously adjusting his wedding band, catching the light, and a lot of wedding band usage. Then he snaps into character, the kind of man who effortlessly commands a room. Ricky stands to welcome the woman back. Ricky, meet Mia, Ricky. Delighted. Here, take a seat. I don't know what Ricky sounds like. That's gonna be my Ricky voice. Ricky signals the bartender to Mia. What are we drinking? Mia gives her a warm, welcoming smile. Mia soaks in the rare feeling of being cared for. Again, a little too abstract. I think I like so again like reading so because again it's how are you evoking the scene with concrete details in a way that everybody walks away from the experience with the same exact impression, right? So reading up to here, I feel like this is kind of a menacing situation. I feel that Mia, even intoxicated, is probably at least a little like nervous. The fact that her reaction is also like not really shown, like it's described, but that it's something that it would be a very surprising thing if someone entered the scene with this outcome, with this reaction. It comes off as false, right? And so those are the things to think about. Is like, hey, are you setting up the scene's progress? Maybe she has like a moment of honesty where she's like, yeah, it's been a long week, and he's just human to her. He just says, yeah, hey, I'm right there with you. Like, what are should we do a double shot? Like, whatever, um, because I don't see care for happening here. Yeah, I don't see Mia being cared for at all, and um, you know, yeah, I think it's just a little telly, and then also a little bit incongruous with what other things we've seen. Um, that cared for. All right. Quiet bar later. The table is now littered with empty glasses. They are all laughing. Their troubles appear to have left them for the time being. Um, okay, so this cut, and so this is like a tricky thing. This cut is one we've all seen a million zillion times before, which is like, what are we drinking? And then cut to like an hour later, lots of glasses. Ah, I mean, it is effective. It works. But then the question I would always have, especially early in the screenplay, is: are there any ways you can make this kind of setup feel unique to this world? Like, right? Like, maybe Mia's really into. I think she was saying she was into dancing, right? She's a spot in a show. maybe she's like talking about acting or like whatever or dancing, and she's like, yeah, like or she's doing costume design. She's like, yeah, this was like she's like drawing a design on the napkin, and it's really cool, and like those things I think would be really interesting to kind of see and experience. So I would kind of keep hold that close in terms of whenever you are doing a scene transition. This works, right? Because it's showing me that they've been there for a while. It's showing me that they've been drinking. It's accomplishing its story goal. But the question is, hey, can it do more? The quiet bar. But can it do more and show us something unique about these characters? Yeah. Anyways, okay. Should we get another round? Oh, I think I've spent quite enough time here. Rachel looks to me. Let's go dancing. I'm gonna start going a little faster because I do want to. I have a game someone asked me to review, and then I have another story if this guy continues to sleep. So I want to try to get through a few. I want to try to cover some ground because I love doing edits. It's been a while with a kid, with two kids now. It's not. It doesn't get easier to take the time to do edits. So whenever I get the chance, I want to kind of YOLO. The club. We have a small place. Not. I have a small place. You have a place? I do. Oh, I don't know. Ricky gives Rachel a quick stern glance. She hesitates to exchange. And hit him. Okay. Again, cut this. Pretty much just it's you already accomplished it. Like so in some ways, like trust. Cut from you already accomplished this. Trust the reader that they get it. Rachel looks for Mia, desperate to delay returning home to her lonely apartment. Again. Yay! This is what makes us girls. And giggling, swaying a little, Ricky moves to settle the tabby, watches him a flicker of something unsettling behind his eyes. Fremont Street, Las Vegas. Fremont Street, Las Vegas, like they came to a portal, a different world. Herds of people flow in both directions this night. But the never-ending string of neon lights illuminate the world. You kind of have world twice, so like a verbal stutter there, or just a repetition. World in this action paragraph twice. Also try to keep action and dialogue all under 3 lines, and if possible, and almost always under 4. So yeah, like this is pretty long, chunky chunk. It's not always bad, but again, like you're competing with people in the screenplay world who have just dialed it, spent months and months dialing it in, and so any opportunity you have to say, okay, can I lean this out? Can I make this easier on the eyes? Those are always wins. So like, hey, you usually want less than like 3 lines or less in an action line and a dialogue both, and 4 is like a lot. So if you start getting into 4 lines, you gotta mean it. Ricky opens the back door of a mint condition Delta Oldsmobile parked in the lot. Mia crawls in. They cruise to the Fremont Street neon flickers. Oldsmobile wax like a lava lamp. Mia stares at the flow of pedestrians, each individual slipping away like moments they represent. It's a little purple. I would try to evoke that. Like, again, like that's like an abstract feeling. Like, how can you describe that in a way that they are moments slipping away? Much rather than telling me the feeling I should get out of it. The goal here would be to find a way to describe the moments looking people visually, so I get that without having to be told, so I get that connection. All right. Yeah, also for those of you who are in chat, I love being interrupted. I see there's a few people here. Don't hesitate to share your thoughts, share your comments. Obviously this is all to try to help the writer just bring their best foot forward, and to help, just kind of say, hey, like how do we just bring this up to the next level. So, I think this is a really great project, a really great start, and I'm excited to see. I'm always of the mind of like, hey, the more kind of perspectives we can get, the more just data it gives the writer as they go through and revise, to sort of say, hey, like, this is what all these people suggested. This is what Jeff suggested. What do I actually think is the thing that I want to tweak, and kind of having more information going into that. Why did you come out to Vegas? I want to star on one of the shows. The shoes a dance. Okay. Well, maybe we can help you with that. Really? We're always looking for dancers. You've got a good head on your shoulders. It's a win-win. Or it's win-win. I feel like I hit the lottery running into guys. Thanks for helping me. You're helping yourself. I'm just the middleman. I like that line. That's cool. Like sinister. It's like got a good sinister. Okay, alleyway next to the club. Leading ladies. Like, Ricky stops the automobile before putting it in the reverse. Thinking the video appears out the back window at the end of the, it's a black door with an imposing figure. He's finally bucked in. So I'm going to read a little bit faster. The biggest thing I'm looking for now is, just for like the viewers or the reader, is like, I need to see a huge change of momentum at page 10. Like the stakes needed to quadruple. The inciting incident needs to have happened. There's a 100-page screenplay, a little bit less even, because this is there's a title page. 99-page screenplay. So like at page 10, you gotta get it. You gotta show that you mean business. At least it's been a while since I've worked in like the screenwriting stuff, but if my memory serves, I'm pretty sure that still applies. Imposing figure standing guard. The Oldsmobile reaches the inn. She's fine, fully buxed in. Let me out. She's hesitant. Austin, 28, comes to the light. Handsome, but so dull, no one needs to notice. He wears a black suit. Rachel bumps Austin out of the way, comforting Mia. Move, you ogre. Rachel assists Mia out of the car. After you. Leads Mia inside. Inside the dark, narrow hallway of red lights. Ripley, a lanky shaved head tank top, tidy-whitey, sings out of the door, marked women's bathroom. Wait, Ripley is the friend, right? No, it's Rachel. Oh. Hey, Ricky. Oh, hey, girl. I'm Ripley. Ripley, why don't you introduce her to a couple of the girls? If she needs anything, take care of her. Yeah. Grabs her hand, playfully leading to the change at the end of the hall. I don't know where the tattoo artist thing came in. This was a tattoo artist. Moonlighting at a club. Okay. Still kind of like trying to figure out when the tattoos come in. Anyways. Wooden desk. So again, like that's like another thing to think about is like, the tattoo artist was what gave like the, tussling with the cartels, setup kind of a unique angle. And so I am a little like, ooh, like it's a bummer that I haven't seen much tattoo artist stuff yet. Okay. This little gentleman desires. So, how did you get your hands out? You were in such a good swaddle. You barbarian child. You were swaddled. You were swaddled. Past tense, I guess. Whatever. Anyways, this seems so ominous. Yes, sir. I'm the final girl. It was a little sloppy with the new timeline, but I did what I had to. This weekend, we will talk then. All right, locker room moments later. Row of old lockers, vanities, and stuff. So kind of like a dance room thingy. Tell me the story. Just tell me no, Ripley. Come on, no, Mia. You don't have to. Okay, you don't have to. If you don't, I'm gonna. Okay, fine. Yes. Rhea shuffles back and gets comfy in her seat. So when I was young, I'm talking like 10 or 11. I saw this cute boy dressed up as a firefighter. This lady set her house on fire. What? I thought he would show up and save me. What about your house? I didn't care. The only thing I could think about was this boy. I didn't even know his name. Did he? No. And why not? Because he was like 14. They burst out laughing. That's the cutest thing I ever heard. Suddenly there's a knock on the door. Yeah, Ricky cracks the door open to the locker and peeks in. How are you doing in here, Mia? They taking good care of you? If you adjust to the place? They didn't tell her anything, but she likes them, and anything would beat her current situation. I don't know about that. Getting murdered in like a sketchy club does not. I mean, I'm sure that crying in a bathroom stall is rough, but I somehow just don't buy that. Um, is more than a little to still be thinking this is a improvement on her situation. Yeah, like I getting free drinks. Even if someone's young and dumb, like you kind of know there's nothing free in this world. But maybe Mia's really. I mean, she's not. She's like in her mid-20s. I don't know. Anyways. Yeah, I feel right at home. Why don't you come back Thursday? We'll set you up. You can get started this weekend. Okay. Can't you see we're getting ready? Yeah, so grabs a wig. You don't need it. Yes, I do. She's bald in the third one. Only the first two count. Morgan looks at me as her casting pulls her collar. Yikes. Ripley kisses Morgan on the head and turns to the door. Ricky disappearing in the corner. She closes the door, sliding a heavy black velvet curtains. Ricky's now in a dimly lit showroom lounge. People entertain guests and serve drinks. Rachel approaches transformed. There's a black, like Blade Runner. Ricky gives her a knowing nod. She looks like she's seen a ghost, but fights an all-telling expression. Moves to the club, stopping to shake hands. Ooh, I better wrap up here. I'm gonna finish. I'll finish page 11. Hope all of you guys are ready for the next leading lady. Just kicking some xenomorph butt. It's Ripley. Ripley explodes on the stage. Swings around the pole, and the crowd erupts. Walks in the front towards the street. Rachel bursts the door behind him. Ricky, I don't know if I can do this. We used to save these girls from the street. I was one of them. We don't have a choice. Ricky grabs Rachel by her shoulders and looks her dead in the eyes. Do you want to see your sister again? Rachel has nothing to say in response. That's what I thought. Then this is our only choice. Rachel lowers her head and cowers back inside. Lights his cigarette. As he steps away from the building, the neon sign above shows the door leading ladies. House in the literally. Okay. She belongs working in a tattoo studio covered in black ink tattoos. You can see one in particular. Okay, so now we finally get to the main character. Was that all a flashback? Wait a second. Is like Mia like her daughter or something? No, 28F, no. 11. Surprising to meet the main character this late. Feels like you know, if Mia wasn't the main, the intro could have been short or, even pushed for later. Yeah, I don't know. But anyways, what are my thoughts? Let's go on the overall. Overall, the writing style is really good. So let's talk about the good. Writing style is sharp and vivid, well written. The other things I really liked was I liked, the good job, job showing how sinister Ricky is without, him being too overtly bad guy. I like that, Rachel turns out to be, another con artist working on Mia. I think that was really cool. I like that Rachel is, very obviously, or at least much more overtly, an antagonist. Like, even though she's like cute and nice, she doesn't have Mia's best interest at heart, which I think is important for showing, hey, this is a dangerous world. People we thought we were nice are not. Things to improve. I would lean towards just like try to reduce some of the extra prose that might not translate to a screen. And I know like this is also a me thing, right? Like my screenwriting style is like as sparse, as lean, as like visual as possible. And I know that kind of like even like Clover mentioned earlier, that's not always the case. Tarantino writes like a novel. Like there's a lot of other ways to do it. And the reason I lean in that direction is because I feel like in a lot of ways it's like the path. It's like the highest success rate path. Like you'll most likely, not get somebody calling you out, because of it, right? Where, there's just the probability increases the more kind of flavor you throw in some respects. Oh, buddy, come on, dude, you chilling? All right, this gentleman might need to be burped. One moment. Where are you chilling? You're chilling. Okay, I'll burp you in just a moment, friend. But yeah, try to reduce. Her brother's photo. I thought it would be Mia. I was reading ahead a little bit. I thought, um, dang, I thought it would be at Mia's funeral. That would have been interesting. Yeah, I'd also just like focus on the core plot points that are needed to start the main plot. The inciting incident comes in quite late. Also, the conflict generally is understated or a bit below view. I think this is okay for a bit, but keep an eye on it. Ensure that every scene has a goal, stakes, and urgency. Yeah, I think that's the best thing I can say. But overall, great job. I am really impressed. I liked the flow. I think this is a cool story. I liked a lot of the description. I think the world is really vivid and well written, and so I think you have a lot of good stuff going for it. And one of the reasons I, zoom in and I'm sometimes a little more strict is or not strict, but just like very very focused on things that hey, this is what I would improve. This is what I would adjust. It's because I think a story has potential, right? And because I say, oh hey, this seems to have some good thoughts, some good, a really good starting point. And so my goal is just to sort of say, hey, as you're going down the runway, what are some of those things that I can hopefully support on to help reduce some of the maybe the downsides or the things that might not go as smoothly. But anyways, thank you so much for sharing this with me. Have a wonderful day and take care.